Welcome to episode number 111 of the Beyond Social Media Show, the podcast for marketing, advertising, public relations, and communications professionals. We're recording live on Google Hangouts on Air on September 12, 2015. Let's start off with the worst, as we always do. And as we always do, BL, you have the honors of kicking it off with the worst story of the week. What was it?
Well, without a doubt, it was the Florida gun supply shop that tweeted, "It's 9/11 week. Use coupon code Muslim at our site for $25 off any gun. Come in on Friday for a free car wash and beer." Which got the response from Del Cameron, "Guns and beer are a great mix." And that was followed by, "Just a reminder on 9/11, my gun shop is a hashtag Muslim-free zone." And he has a video link to it on YouTube. And of course, this makes a Twitter storm. And he follows up with, "Pleased to announce that we're now selling Liberal Tears gun oil." And that led to a Twitter storm, which led him to the evening news on CNBC, CBS, NBC, etc., which is what that pond scum wanted.
Yeah, any news is good news. I think the Liberal Tears gun oil is actually kind of clever. I got a little chuckle out of that. The guy knows his audience, that's for sure.
Yeah, well, you know, he got what he wanted, and it was the kind of thing that guys like that get. It makes me sick. It just makes me sick. So I have an announcement that Scott Silverstein asked me to make, and Scott is a dear friend, and he is a survivor of pancreatic cancer, and he is asking me to announce that September is Prostate Cancer Awareness Month, and that the important thing to remember is that if you are affected, you're not alone. And on September 15th at noon, you'll see in the comments on the event page that there's going to be a special blab about it. So please take a look at the comments and you'll get all the details. Okay, so back to the show and back to the bad news of the week. You wouldn't believe that this was possible, but of course, this is America and we love junk. And so there is a bunch of tchotchkes that commemorate the Pope's visit to the United States. My favorite among them was the commemorative Pope toaster, which you can purchase for $58.95 on Amazon. And it will put the Pope's face, it's got some little thing in there that puts the Pope's face on your toast. And you also...
I don't know why that's in the worst, except for maybe the price. That's a little pricey for a toaster, but...
And then there was my other favorite was the plush Pope doll. I thought that was quite adorable. But I mean, you name it, they got it, you know, and it is what it is. And this is America. And we do, I personally want to get Benny a little satin jacket that says Pope Francis Tour 2015, you know.
The concert tour jacket, yeah.
Yeah. What'd you find, Dave?
Well, Apple dominated the news last week, of course, with their event, and they had a lot of things to announce, and among them was what I'm putting in the worst. They're Diabolical. This is a Mashable headline, and it says it all. iPhone subscription is Apple's most diabolical business plan yet. This is a Mashable story by Chris Taylor. So now one of the announcements is you can subscribe to iPhones. You can get a subscription to iPhones. You can upgrade your phone at any time. Now you don't have to worry about the 2-year contract, blah, 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 stuff that you you previously had to do. They throw in a $99 Apple Care Plus plan for free. But Taylor did the math, and the traditional pricing for a new phone is like $199 to $399, depending on what kind of phone you get. Apple gets, according to this article, $8.30 to $16.63 a month for the next 24 months, because you're going on a 2-year carrier plan, right, when you upgrade. According to the subscription prices, you're going to be paying $32.45 to $42.50 a month to Apple, depending upon the phone. That's a 200% markup of what you were paying Apple before, and that's in addition to what you paid your carrier. So
Wait, a 200% markup over what you paid
over
Apple.
what you paid Apple before when you were buying the phone in the traditional way.
Okay, so like when I went to the store and I bought my phone for $299,
Yeah.
now it's going to cost me 200% more than $299?
100% more than what you paid before, yes. So,
but that's the same as what it would have cost me if I went to AT&T. That's why I didn't go to AT&T.
that's for the luxury of being able to upgrade your iPhone at any time. So,
Well, you know, maybe.
all right. I don't know when I just got my phone, so I'm not going to need a new phone for a while. I don't know when I do need a new phone, whether I'm going to consider subscribing to my phone or not. But it does sound like pretty diabolical for me.
Well, I got my phone a few months ago, and I had an issue with the phone the other day, which I understand a lot of people have this issue, and that is that my calendar disappeared. So I pay $99 a year to Apple for Apple Care on the phone, and I call them up, and they completely screw up my phone. Okay. So then I went to the Apple store where in about 30 seconds flat, some nice person fixed it, but it was very frustrating. Okay, so the other thing that I have on the worst list is a philanthropic porn site. It's called PornHub, and they have a part called the PornHub Cares Scholarship. And what they're asking students to do is submit an essay of 1,000 to 1,500 words answering the following. How do you strive to make others happy? Or submit a video of 2 to 5 minutes in length that elaborates on the good work that you do and anything else that you might want to say. What could go wrong?
Yuck. Just yuck.
What could possibly go wrong? So, I mean, come on. So that brings us to better news. And I am just knocked out by these two little Seattle sisters. They're 8 and 10, and they sent the Loki Lego Launcher 78,000 feet into space. Now, just to give you an idea of how high that is, that's twice the height of Mount Everest, and that's higher than any commercial plane flies. And the source of it was GeekWire, James Risley's story. And so Loki is their cat, and they thought that R2-D2 should go on the trip too. So they teamed up with GoPro, and that's what they did. They sent the Loki launcher into space, and then they had from their handwritten notes like their lessons learned, and they said the next time they should have a bigger balloon. And but my favorite thing that they said, my absolutely favorite thing was wait a second, where is this? You will never know if you don't try, if you don't ask. And then they said if you find out there's a problem, don't be afraid to take it apart and start all over again. And then the last one that I just love is worry less.
So we should note that they didn't actually send their cat into space.
No, picture of the cat. Yeah, picture of the cat. And they're the most adorable little girls.
Are they adorable?
Oh my God.
I was struck by the Home Depot and GoPro product placement though too.
I know, it was just amazing. And you know, their family was in on it, and the video is by the family, and it's just the most adorable thing I ever saw in my life. And you know, they're two little girls, and they just said, let's go into outer space. And so they did, with a balloon. It was the lesson there. The lesson there is that anything that you don't try won't happen, I guess, right?
Mm-hmm. Very cute. So back to Apple again. So,
yes.
Apple event, as I said, dominated news. I had what part of it in the worst in the subscriptions, but they had a lot of interesting things to announce too. So this is from an Adweek article by Christopher Heine. Among them, the interesting parts to me was 3D touch. So that's a new feature of the iPhone that is haptic sensitive. It uses haptic feedback to determine the pressure that you touch your phone with. So with this new feature, rather than opening email entirely, you can press and hold, and now you can get a preview window pop up of an email to see a glance of the contents of the actual email. So email marketing takes on a different dimension too when you're considering how iPhone users are going to be previewing their email now.
How is that different than how anybody else does it?
Because it pops up a little preview window. It's like a pop-up window that shows you a little glance of what's inside the email. So rather than opening up the email entirely, how people look at email on their iPhones is they are on their phones as they determine what to delete. And so if you've got another feature that allows you to get a sort of quick glance into the email without actually opening it, you've probably got a better chance of keeping that email from being deleted on your on the phone. So
Oh,
that's
see, on Gmail, I see the first line without opening it.
Yeah, it's not the same. You're not understanding. You see the actual contents of the email. You see.
Won't that take more time to go through?
No. We'll have a link of a video demonstration.
Okay, we need one.
The camera has now 12 megapixels as opposed to 8 pixels. They've got live photos, so now it lets you turn your photos into GIFs while adding sound, which I kind of think is what we used to call video. So I don't know what the hell that's all about, but apparently it's a new feature. The Apple TV has an app store now. I think this is pretty significant. Tim Cook proclaimed that we believe the future of television apps, available apps on the new Apple TV will be Major League Baseball, Netflix, HBO, Hulu, Guilt, Guitar Hero. It's going to be Siri enabled, or it is Siri enabled, so you can use voice commands to find stuff on your TV. It has games. There's a motion sensor controller. The pricing is 32 gig for 149, 64 gig for 199. Now other TVs have apps. I have a Philips TV that has apps on it, and my Fire TV, Amazon Fire TV set-top box has apps on it, but they're kind of clunky and they're kind of hard to use. The Fire TV one is better than Philips, but Apple has really refined the process perfect the process of apps, and having an app store where anybody can develop an app and put it into the app store opens up the possibility. This is really a la carte pricing, a la carte TV. And the cable company should be very afraid of this because they can probably do it better, and so it should change the landscape of television, I think.
That's really interesting. I need to take a look at that because the whole thing with cable TV is kind of ridiculous. So Nintendo is going to let us battle Pokemon in real life with a new augmented reality app. And this is from a Digiday story by Rachel Radenbush. And, so the world's most famous band of pocket monsters is coming to life on Pokemon Go. It's a new mobile gaming app for iPhone and Android, and it's developed in partnership with Niantic, which was formerly part of Google Labs. And the augmented reality app lets you collect virtual Pokemon in real-world environments and trade them with other players and do battle in the streets. And it's Nintendo's first foray into mobile games, and it'll be available free in download that you don't have to pay for, but you monetize. It's monetized through in-app purchases. And the watch that they're going to have, that is the Pokemon Go Plus, has not yet been released, but it's coming too.
Very cool. Very cool.
Yeah.
Can't wait to play it. Google and Twitter are fighting back against Facebook. So they're going to provide their own version of Instant Articles, the platform, but they're doing it as an open source project. So this is from Recode. Peter Kafka and Mark Bergen are the articles of the story. Google and Twitter are working together to help publishers show instant articles to people who use their services on mobile phones. So it's a response, obviously, as I said, to Facebook and Instant Articles. Apple News app is going to be coming out, which will have that type of feature. Snapchat has something similar as well. So they're creating their publishing tools as an open source project and hoping tech companies will adopt it. They won't host the publisher's content. So we have talked about sort of the risk, I think, that publishers are taking on by publishing their content directly on Facebook. It can,
and not driving traffic to their site. Yeah, that's a real big risk.
Yep. So instead of hosting content, they're going to show readers cached content. So in Facebook, in search engine, in Google search results, there's a little link for a cached link, and that's actually a cached page of cached version of the page. So they're already collecting that information. That's what they're going to show. What that will also show is the ads that were originally put on that page, and so that obviously preserves more of Google's AdSense market share, right? So they will be having more value for their ad and not losing as much market share to their competitors, and also puts more control in the hands of publishers. So interesting development. And then you just mentioned that New York Times and Guardian have signed on to use this platform. So
yeah, that's an interesting development, really, because the more publishers who join, the stronger the thing gets, you know. Yeah. So I just found something that was really fun. There was a guy who was just kind of jamming with his friend's golden retriever, whose name was Bailey, and he filmed this 80-second video showing the dog smiling and bopping along whenever he played his guitar. And then when he would stop, the dog would turn around and look at him like, "Where's the music?" And then he would play and the dog would start bopping along. So that video went viral, and there was a Bud Light can in the picture at the side, so it kind of looked like a beer ad. But then Harvard Pilgrim Insurance used the video in an ad that they labeled "Count Us In," and there he was, Bailey, bopping along to the music. It was a very weird association, but it was quite adorable, and they took the beer can out.
Yeah. It was awfully cute because whenever the guitarist stopped playing,
the dog just stopped.
Dog just stopped, and whenever he started, his mouth opened. It looked like he was smiling when his mouth. It's not unusual. I think animals like music too. There are a handful of songs that feature dogs in them singing, howling.
Yeah. The Nitty Gritty Dirt has one that I love.
Pink Floyd has a blues song that has a dog singing along. Just the only lyrics are by the dog. So.
So the other thing that just cracked me up in a much longer form was George Lopez as the Mexican Donaldo Trumpez for Funny or Die. He was hysterical. I mean, he cracks me up anyway, but he's Donaldo Trumpez, and he's saying, we don't want you coming to our country. What are the people who come? They're not the best Americans. They're the ones who come to see a donkey show. We don't want you. And he said, at spring break, the students come to rape each other. What do we want them there for? He said, I'm going to build a great big wall, and that wall's going to have a door, and when you Americans leave, it's going to hit you in your big fat American asses goodbye. It was so funny. He went on and on, totally serious. He was wonderful. You must watch it.
Very good. Very good.
So I think that that brings us to shiny objects.
Yeah, one more quick one.
Okay.
We're talking about advertising. The Washington Post has pulled off a little statement by blocking people who are using AdBlock software. So this is from a BuzzFeed article by Matthew Zietlein. The Washington Post has been intermittently redirecting desktop users who are using AdBlock blocker to their subscription page. And it was timed to the Apple event, and Apple is upgrading their iOS software to allow people to download ad blocking apps. So they're making the point, that advertising supports content. If you want the content and you don't want the ads, well, tough luck for you. Kind of late in the game to make that statement, I guess, but better late than never. But with this development, I think native advertising is going to continue to grow because people don't want the traditional banner ads. So
Well, it's not the banner ads that are so
The
obnoxious.
advertising.
The ones that pop up and prevent you from reading, and the ads that play while you're trying to read. And, you know, like if you have to be obnoxious, there's something wrong with your creative.
Well, I mean, that's what I'm saying. It's the interruption that is the problem. And
Yeah.
what native advertising at its best is not. It's
Exactly. You know, and that requires a new type of creativity, and either you want to learn it or you don't want to learn it. Kind of not, you know, it's pretty obvious. So that does bring us to shiny objects, and I found one that I liked a lot. It's called Do Nothing, Do Good, and you log the time spent off your phone, and this app and members, well, this app has members of the agency, which is called AdBlock, volunteer for the hours that you log off your phone. It's making several statements, and I love it. And, you know, I do not have my phone on all the time. I do not have email going all the time because I have a life. And unfortunately, a lot of people are just you know, you can't be a minute without it. And so here's a way to do good in the world. What a good idea.
Well, it's a good idea. That is a day too late,
What do you mean?
because I didn't. If I would have known, I would have had this app on my phone, and I left my phone in the car while I grabbed the bus to go to work yesterday, and didn't have my phone in my hands all day as I normally do. Is the weirdest feeling.
I know you feel like a pioneer, like you're out without your phone. You know, it's like the weirdest thing.
Didn't like it. I will never do it again, as far as I can help myself.
No, it's really weird, and I only have one phone now. So, you know, if I don't have that phone, I'm like not connected to the world anymore. It's very freaky.
Yeah.
Tell us what you found.
Sketchboard. So this is a cool little web app that allows you to sketch out ideas on a virtual whiteboard. You can use it for building wireframes. Website wireframes is an obvious one. Defining workflows, doing org charts. I used it for doing some mind mapping of an idea I've got. The free version allows you to use it publicly, and you can add one private collaborative project for the free version, but there's a pro version that you can have a bunch of private collaboration. So you can do it with other people as well. So pretty cool little app.
That does sound like a cool little app. So that brings us to projects.
And those, indeed. What do you got?
Well, I have an article in AdAge DigitalNext this week entitled "Should Your Brand Be Blabbing?" and a longer version of that same article on my blog on my blog and in Medium. I wanted to try publishing in Medium to see what happened, and the answer is not much, but much more happens when you publish in LinkedIn. But anyway, it's about what Blab may mean for brands, and brands are starting to take a look. And I also was invited to lead a Blab session during New York Communications Week in October, and tentatively scheduled right now is the role of Blab in tech PR, but that remains to be seen whether that will remain the topic and who the panelists will be. And I think that's going to be big fun, because really right now a lot of PR firms are very late to the party, and as they always are, except for yours, of course, Dave. But anyway, Blab is a pretty big sensation and really worth a look. And we're going to do a quick after show Blab. So we have posted the link, and I'll post it again in the event page. So, and where are you, Dave?
Very cool. I've got one little piece here. I wrote a blog post called SEO Problems that deal with 11 technical issues that influence search visibility. They're all too common, and most of them are pretty easy to fix too. One of which is syndicating content. So a lot of bloggers syndicate their content to other third-party sites to get more of an audience. But if you don't do it correctly, using the technical relationship canonical tag, then that third-party website could get credit in search for your content. So you want to do it correctly and make sure that you don't cannibalize your own content. So we'll put a link in the show notes for the other.
I got to read that post. Definitely must read that post. So that brings us to daily numbers. Daily
numbers, yeah. Preferred devices mothers use to check Facebook. This is from Edison Research, and kind of interesting. So in 2012, 53% of mothers preferred using the desktop or laptop to check their Facebook accounts. By this year, that's down to 20%. In 2012, 41% used their mobile phone to check their Facebook accounts. This year, it's up to 67%. And in 2012, 5% preferred using a tablet to check their Facebook account. That's up to 13% this year. So just a dramatic illustration of the rise of mobile devices and consuming technology and consuming content and using social networks.
Why moms? Isn't that applying to everybody?
Well, I think moms are probably more. A lot of the Facebook. I guess it's a good question. I don't know the answer, but I think off the top of my head, a lot of people use Facebook to keep track of families and family activities, and
Right.
moms are probably the content creators in that regard. So.
Yeah, their kids are busy trying to avoid them. So I put a link to our post-show Blab in the comments on the original event page, and we apologize for the difficulty with the HOA. Sometimes these things happen. So Dave, how about taking us out?
Will do. Thank you for watching episode 111 of the Beyond Social Media Show. Links to all of everything that we talked about will be on our blog later today or tomorrow at beyondsocialmediashow.com/111. Let us know what you think about the show. If you like the show, please give us a review. You can give us a review at beyondsocialmediashow.com/love. You can find me on Twitter at @DErickson. My blog is e-strategyblog.com. I also blog at my agency's blog, creativepr.com/blog. BL Achman, you can find at What's Next on Twitter. Her blog is what'snextblog.com. She also runs Maximum Plus, where you can hire her for all things video, online video, and events. And the show, you can find us, of course, at beyondsocialmediashow.com. Subscribe to our newsletter, where you get exclusive content. You won't miss a show every week. You'll get some cool stuff that we don't include in the show notes or the show. beyondsocialmediashow.com/newsletter, where you can subscribe. Until next week, thank you so much for watching.
Thank you. We'll see you next week, same time, same station. Come join us in the Blab at 1:15.